In this tutorial, we will see or we will learn how we can read the data from an Excel file. In our previous tutorial, we implemented a model where we read the data of the problem from the dot file. Okay, so in this example, as you can see, we have the model file, and the model file does not contain any numeric values, and then all the numeric values are written in this dot file. And in some cases it's also not practical to write the data file into this and write the numeric values, these data, into dot file, because you see it requires a specific format. But it's also possible to read this data from an Excel file, and it would be much easier. And also, if you are going to run the same model with a lot of different data, again, in order to not to change anything in your model file and in your data file, you can just change your input data in Excel, and you will obtain the results easily. And in this tutorial, we will see how to do it. The example that we are going to solve, that we are going to work on, is first we will implement this model, and then we will implement this assignment model, both of them. And in our previous lectures, we already implemented both of these models. Okay, the first thing to do in order to read the data from this Excel file is, after preparing this model file, you need to prepare your Excel file, okay, that contains your input data. If you like, you can read all of your data, all numeric values, from the Excel file. If you like, you can read only a number of them. Okay, so you can read some of them from the dot file and some of them from the Excel file. It's also possible. In this example, I will read all the data from the Excel file. Okay, so for this problem, if you remember, the parameters that I need to enter into my model are the number of products, which was 10 initially, and then we solved with 5 products, and then all the values of these parameters must be entered, and those values are given in such a table. Basically, I will enter this table into my Excel file, and if you like, you can write all the data into a single Excel sheet. But it is also possible to have multiple sheets in your Excel file, so that you can read every data from another sheet. And in this example, I will show you how to read it from different sheets. Okay, so this in the first sheet, I named it as data 1. This is the name of the sheet, and here I input the value of number of products, which is 10. This statement here is nothing to do with CPLEX. CPLEX will only read this data. Okay? This and products here is for myself. I will know what's going on here, what I have written here. Later on, maybe if I open this Excel file after 2 months, I need to know what this value is. Okay, and in this second sheet, which I named as data 2, you can give any name here. We have the product ID number 1 up to 10. In fact, we will not read this one in CPLEX. Again, it is just for my reference for later on. Again, these names are not necessary for CPLEX. If you delete them, CPLEX will still continue to run. The only important part here is this part. And here I have the profit values, time values, material values, and the demand values. After preparing your data, we need to save it to somewhere in our computer. Okay, so basically, the easy way is to save your Excel file under the same folder with your CPLEX project files. If you do this, I will show you both of them. If you do this, you will easily refer to this Excel file, Otherwise, if it is in some other folder inside your computer, then you need to give that path to this CPLEX so that it can read the file. Okay, currently my Excel file is not under my project folder, so I need to give the exact path to this folder. Okay, so how to do it? In the model file there is no difference, we will not change anything, but we need a different data file. For that reason I create a new data file. I will name it as tutorial data Excel 1. Okay, and I will finish it, and it's currently empty. And what shall I read? What shall I do? First thing is to make a connection with the Excel sheet to tell CPLEX that you are going to read this data from this Excel file. Okay, so for that reason you need to know the address of your Excel file. My Excel file is currently here, it is in this path, so I'm going to copy it, and here in the data file, okay, I need to write this statement: sheet connection. As you see, the color turned into purple, and you need to pay attention. As you can see, this S is in uppercase and C is in uppercase and all others in lowercase. Okay, if you don't write it in uppercase, you see the color is turned into blue, so that the CPLEX does not understand this keyword. Okay, sheet connection is the keyword here. Sheet connection. Then we say we need to give a name to this sheet. You can give any name. You can say data, you can say sheet, you can say you can give any name. Okay, so what I am going to do here is I will give the name, let's say Excel sheet. Okay, sheet connection Excel sheet. This name will be the name that I'm going to refer later on while reading this data. I will say that go and read the data from this Excel sheet. Okay, then I need to give the address and the name of this data, so we need to write in this quotation, inside this quotation marks, I need to enter this path, but important thing, as you can see, we have a single slash here and we need double slash, so you need to change all these into double slash. Okay, and then your file of the Excel, again inside this double slash we will say tutorial data.xlsx. Okay, so you need to write the name correctly, paying attention to uppercase, lowercase letters, otherwise it will not make this connection. Okay, this is the first line, and it makes the connection with the Excel file. Now assume that my Excel file is under the same folder with my CPLEX project files. Okay, where is my CPLEX project files? How can I find it? Initially, when you are creating your project, it asks you to save the project files to a folder. Okay, it's the same folder, but if you forget it, if you forget where these files are, as I explained in the first tutorial, you can just right click on the name of the project, go to properties, and inside the properties the location is written here, and if you just click on this button, it will take you directly to that folder, okay, which is this folder. And as you can see, all my model and data files appear here, so it means that I need to copy my Excel file. Okay, let me just copy it first. Let me close this file. and then copy it from here to here. Now this Excel file is under the same project folder. So here, instead of writing all these paths, what can I do is I can just write the file name. And if I do in this way, CPLEX will look at the project folder, and as soon as it finds this tutorial data XLX file inside that folder, it will start reading the data. Okay, so this is how we make a connection with the Excel. And what data I need to read it, if I need this CPLEX to read from this Excel, these are the data, right? Of course I will not write these, but okay, these end products, I'm going to read it from the Excel file. So what do? We say end products, and then we say from, this is a keyword, and then sheet read, this is also a keyword, and pay attention to uppercase and lowercase letters. And then inside parentheses I use the same Excel sheet name, okay, the name that I have given here. So I just copy it and paste it to here, Excel sheet, and then comma, and then I need to tell CPLEX where is this end products, where it is inside the this Excel sheet. And let me just open this Excel file to see where that data is written. Okay, as you can see, number of products is in sheet named data 1 and in cell A2. Okay, so here we write again inside this double quotation mark data 1 and then this exclamation mark and then A2. Okay, and with a semicolon. So this is how we write, how we read the data. Okay, we have more to read. Let's see which data I need to read. P, T, M, and D. Okay, so what do we do? Similarly, we will do similar things. For that reason, I will just copy this page, this line, and paste it here. And I will say P from sheet read, and which sheet? Excel sheet. And where in Excel sheet? It is in data 2. As you can see, this profit is not just a single cell. It is 10, it contains 10 rows, 10 numbers, starting from B2 up to B11. Okay, then how do we write it? First, the name of the sheet, which is data 2, and then it starts from B2 and goes up to B11. Okay, this is how we write it. Okay, then copy this and paste it. The second one is M from sheet read data 2, and where is M? Okay, let's first read T. It's not important in which order you read, T or M, but let's go in order. So T goes from C2 to C11. Basically, I will change this C2 to C11. Okay. Then the next one is M, and it goes from D2 to D11. This one. Okay, just change this here, D2 to D11. And then we need to read D, and D from E2 to E11. Okay, E2 to E11. Okay, what else? So as you can see, we need to write this available time and available material also. Let me show you how you can do a hybrid data file so that some of the data is written inside the data and some of the data is read from the Excel. So basically I just copy it and paste these here. Now I have the data file. Some of the parameters are read from an Excel file. Now I want to create a run configuration. Okay, right click on the project, new run configuration, and this will be configuration read Excel 1. Okay, it's just a name. And inside this run configuration, I will move my model file, which is this one. Okay, move it inside the run configuration, and then as the data file, I will move this data file that I prepared. Okay, you don't need to move this Excel file. As you can see, your Excel file, if you copy and paste it under the same project folder, the Excel file is also written here. And if you double click on it, you can also see this Excel file opened in CPLEX here. But sometimes when you modify the Excel file inside the CPLEX and then click on save, you may face some problems. Sometimes it doesn't save and etc. So try it, but if you have any errors, if you get some mistakes, then I suggest you not to modify the Excel file inside CPLEX, but open it extensionally and then modify it outside CPLEX. Okay, so now let's run this model and see if everything is correct, if the model runs smoothly. Okay, so Excel is launching and it started running, and as you can see, this is the result. Okay, so all the data is read from this Excel file, only these two. And if you want to read also these data from the Excel file, what you can do, let's go to here and let me write here available time, and which is 200, and available material, which is 5000, and then save this file. Okay, override changes. Okay. By the way, don't forget to save the Excel files, because when you forget to save it after making any changes in CPLEX, when you run your model, you may get some unexpected results. Okay, then what do? We say that available time from sheet read, okay, Excel sheet, and it is in data 1 and it is in B2, as you can see, available time, and available material is in C2, so therefore I just copy this and paste it to here and say that this is in C2. Of course, we shouldn't write equal to here, and then run this, and when you run it, you will obtain the solution. Okay, this is how we read the data from an Excel sheet. And if you want to solve a different example, what you can do, you can prepare another Excel file, which, for example, 5 products. Okay, and in these 5 products, let's say the number of products is 5. This is a different example now, so we don't need all these data, and then save it. Okay, now I'm of course in this data file, when I try to run it, okay, now the name of the Excel file is different. It is 5 Pro. I want to solve it. Okay, So I want to show you some common error messages that you may receive. So I want to run this. So Excel tries to read the data. And now I have an error message. As you can see from this problems tab, it says that exception from IBM ILOG concert Excel, size of the range is not the size of the array. And when you double click, you see it takes you to this line. And it says that there's a problem here. And what is that problem? Basically, that problem is this. We say that we have 5 products, right? And then P is defined according to my model file. P is defined for products, and now I have 5 products, and I want to read the value of this P, and I'm reading it from B2 to B11, and here B2 to B11 is this, but in fact I don't have that much data because I only have 5 products. So it means that I need to change these ranges also. And let me, for that reason, I am going to create another data file, new data, and this time I will call it tutorial.excel2. Okay. So if you give some readable names, I mean some names that you can understand easily, it will be more beneficial for you. Okay, basically I'm going to copy all these lines to this second Excel, and I will modify it. So my Excel file is now 5 products. And products, it is just a single line which doesn't change. Okay, it is this one, so there is no change here. But for this P, now I need to read from data to B2 to B6. Okay, so it should go from B2 to B6. Similarly, all others should go C2 to C6, D2 to D6, and E2 to E6. And the other 2 are in sheet data 1, and they are just single values and they don't change also. Okay, now I change this data file, and if I want to run this, I am going to create another run configuration, and this will be configuration read Excel2, let's say. And for this one, I am going to use the same model file. You see, I'm using the same model file again and again with different data files, and I'm going to use this second data file this time. Okay, the same model file with a different data file, and inside this data file I'm using a different Excel file, and both of these Excel files are now in my project folder. As I said, if it is not in your project folder, then you need to give the full path to your file. And right click on this and click run this, and the same model file now will be solved using a different Excel file. Okay, but what's the use of this? So we are using an Excel file, we are preparing the data, we are modifying the Excel file, and then we are coming to this dot file and modifying the dot file as well. So we are modifying both sides, and it's not practical, you may say. For that reason, we may use a better approach, we may use a more practical approach, in which case we will simply do not refer to these cells with their cell number as A2, but we will name the range. In Excel there is a property, if you go under these formulas, you see there is this name manager and there is this define name button. If if you just click on this define name, we can define this, for example, A2 with a given name, and as you see, Excel automatically take this value here in cell A1 as the name of the cell, but you can change it. You can write N, A, B, anything, any name, but it should be something identifiable. I will use N products for this name. So now what happened? As you see, when I click on a cell in Excel, here I see its cell number, which is E2. And now when I click here, you can see the name of this cell is now N products. Similarly, if you want to define this, again you can go this define name and give a name, or simply you can click here and you can say, let's say, avail time. Okay, so this is the name that I gave, and this is easily defining how we easily define the name. Again here it is now cell C2, but instead of that I will just name it avail material. Okay, now in this Excel sheet I defined 3 different names, and if you want to see all these names, change them or delete them, you can go to this name manager and you can see all these. Okay, for this avail time, the cells is data 1 C2, and if you want it to be C3, you can just go to C3 and click on this. Otherwise, if you don't want to make any change, you can keep it. And also you can, if you want to delete a name, you can go to this one and delete, and basically that name will be deleted. Okay, and similarly in this data 2, this profit, it is not just a single name, but a single value, but there are 5 values. So what can I do? I can go to here, select all these cells, and then click on here and give a name. Now as you see, when I click on this cell or on this cell, the name is B2, B3, but when I select all of them, the name is profit. And if you go to this name manager, you see the profit is here now, and the values of the profit, as you can see, there are 5 values, and it is a range. It is not just a single cell. Okay, similarly I can give these the names time, and then another name here material, and finally I can give the name here demand. Okay, and don't forget to save your Excel file. After that we can go to this CPLEX, and okay, I will read my data from, this is 5 products. Okay, and N products, I was reading it from data 1A2, but now I'm going to read it. You don't need to give the sheet name, you don't need to give the cell name, just write N products. What is this N products? It's the name that I give here. You see, this is N products, so I'm using simply that name. And P, we are going to read this P from profit. Okay, and then this T, we will read it from time. These are the names that I defined. This is from material, and this is from demand, and this available time, and this is avail met. Okay, so I'm not using these. Okay, I am using the names that I define here. If you say that this, if you can give a different name here, time availability for example, and in that case you will write a different name, that name here, not this avail time. Okay, now as you can see, sorry, I just modified the Excel one. I wanted to modify this Excel 2, but I modified the Excel 1, no problem. We can just try this one. This is the old one, this is the new one. Okay, in this Excel, I am just using these names. And what we can do, we can right click on this and click run this. Okay. And we got the solution. Now assume that we want to solve this problem with 10 data. Okay, 10 data. Then what shall we do? Of course, we need to arrange this Excel file. If you like, you can create another Excel file. If you like, you can keep the same Excel file and just modify it. And how? I will just say that this is 10 products. And for this data, we will have in total 10 products. And this profit here, now we will have different values. I'm just filling these values over here. The time is 4, 2, 5, 6, 1, 2, sorry. And then material is 25, 27, 45, 35, sorry, 27, 45 and 35 and 50. And then the demand is, let's say, 200, 156. I'm just making up an example. Okay, 735, 456. Okay, so this is an example with 10 data. Now I want to solve this one. What should I do? The thing is, I don't need to change anything in my model file. I don't need to change anything in my Excel file. I only need to define my names. Okay, this is already end products. This is already available time, and this is already available material. But look, the first 5 of these are defined as profit. But now I want all of them to be defined as profit. So for that reason, I go to this name manager, click on this profit, and instead of this B2 to B6, I change it to B2 to B11 and click on OK. Now the profit, as you can see, is defined for all of these. And again, for this time, in this name manager, select the time and change it from C2 to C11. Material, D2 to D11. And demand, E2 to E11, and save. Now I updated my Excel file, and there is nothing to update in the model or data file. You can just click on the project and click on run this, and it will solve the model with 10 products instead of 5. It is that easy, but you need to be careful. So assume we forgot to change this demand. Okay, it was, as you can see, initially E2 to E6, but since we have 10 data, it should be E2 to E11. So there's a mistake here, there's something wrong here. And what happens if we try to run the model with this mistake? So you will always, while implementing these, you will always receive error messages in CPLEX. And sorry, I forgot to save this Excel file, I guess. And don't be afraid of these error messages. The message is written there, and you should read what is the error, and then you should find where you made that mistake and you should correct it. Okay, this is the idea. And as you can see here, I received an error message. It says that exception IBM ILOG concert Excel size of the range is not the size of the array, because in my case I have 10 products, but look what I did. It says that there's a problem in this D, which is demand. Let's go to this CPLEX. where this demand is. Go to name manager, and here you see that it is from E2 to E6. So only 5 of them, but it should be E2 to E11. So you should be able to identify these mistakes and correct it, and then be able to run it. But of course, don't forget to save the Excel file. Okay, so this is how we solve and how we read the data from Excel and solve it. Now let's consider another example, which is, by the way, when you are reading the data from Excel, it's important to see if the data is read correctly. For that reason, after solving the model, go to here and check available material. CPLEX read it as 5000, available time as 200, and go to D, and as you can see, these are the values that are read by CPLEX, and check, are they the same with these? So sometimes if you give wrong reference points instead of E for demand, if you give D, then CPLEX will read that part and will solve it according to that. So you need to check if everything is correct or not. Be careful. Okay, so this is the first example. Now assume this second model, which is this one over here, and let's try to read this data of this model from Excel. Okay, so let me close all these data and model files, and let me open the model file and the data file of this problem. As you can see, the data of this model is this. So I need to prepare an Excel file for this. So let me just open a new Excel file, and I'm going to save it to some place. Let's just save it here. Okay, and give a name, assignment data. Okay, this is the name I give it, assignment data. And now I'm going to write the values of the parameters. The first one is n jobs. I'm going to write it here, n jobs, which is 4. I'm going to write n machines to here, number of machines, which is also 4. And I'm going to write this C matrix here. So the jobs 1, let me write it here, 1, 2, 3, 4 jobs, and machines 1, 2, 3, 4 machines, and then the values are 5, 2, 7, 4 for the second one, 10, 3, 6 and 8, the third one 5, 4, 4 and 6, and the last one is 2, 4, 7 and 9. Okay, if you like, you can format these cells however you like, but it's not important for CPLEX, because CPLEX will only read the data. Okay, it's important. Another important thing is, look, in this model I define this C to be an integer. Then in your Excel file these values should be integers. If you write 4.5 here, since it's not integer, CPLEX will give you an error message. Okay, now let's create another data file for this problem and read the data from that Excel file. So right click on the project, create new and data. So I will say tut assign Excel, okay, 1, and finish it. Okay, so I'm first thing is to write this. I will make a sheet connection, give a name. I will just say sheet, and then inside parentheses I need to give the name. But where is my Excel file? My Excel file is here. This one, okay? And then for that I'm going to take this path, copy it and paste it to here, and then don't forget to make these slashes double slashes, and then also don't forget to write the name of your data, which is assignment data.xlsx. Okay, then we will read and jobs, okay, from where sheet read, and then where. Okay, here I am going to define the names. This will be n jobs, and I will define this name here n machines. Okay, let's assume that I don't define a name here, and I will try to read it. So the first thing is n jobs. Basically you don't need to write the sheet name as well. Okay, just n jobs is enough. And then n machines from sheet read. Okay, and then n machines, and then I'm going to read C from, we are not writing Cij, we write C from sheet read. Okay, then by the way, I forgot to write here sheet. Of course we need to write which Excel file we are reading from, this, and also this is sheet, and then the name of my sheet is sheet 1, so it's sheet 1 and then this exclamation mark, and then B5 to E8. As you can see, it is not just a single row or single column, it's a table. So we need to write B5 to E8. Okay, so B5 to E8. And this is my Excel file. I'm going to solve this. For that reason, I will create another run configuration, new run configuration. I will say Excel 1 for this one and click finish. So copy the model file inside this configuration, copy the data file inside this configuration, and then right click on this and click run this. So we are reading a two-dimensional data now from this Excel sheet, and if everything is correct, we will get the correct solution. But it says that, as you can see, Excel range is unknown. So we are reading from n jobs, and this should be n jobs. So maybe I forgot to save the file. Okay, so save it and click run this again. And as you can see, we obtained the solution. You can check the n jobs is 4, n machines is 4, and you can check that C, the values of the C is written here. Okay, so one more thing, we can name this range, this table, as, for example, cost. Then instead of writing in our data file this sheet 1 blah blah, we can just say it cost. Okay, and then save it. Also don't forget to save your Excel file, and then right click and run this. So we just named these ranges and we are reading from it. And as you can see, we obtained the same optimal solution with the x values given here and the red parameter values are here. So this is how we read the data from Excel files. Of course, you can read the data from multiple Excel files as well. Instead of having just a single Excel file, let me show that to you as well. So assume that we are going to read this and jobs and machines from this Excel file, and we will read the cost from another Excel file. So for that reason, I will save a copy of this file. I will say save as assignment data cost. Okay. Now I have two Excel files. One is the assignment data XLSX and the other one is assignment data cost XLSX. Okay, these first are read from this data file and that's okay, we already did it. Now for the other one, what should I do is I need to make another sheet connection. This time I have to give a different name. So this name is given by me, it was sheet. Now I will say this is sheet 2. Okay, and for this sheet 2, again it is saved under the same address, or it can be saved in the project folder. So you can just give this name assignment data cost.xlsx. Okay, so what I am going to do is I am going to copy this assignment cost and paste it under my project folder, which is this one, and paste it here. So now I have two Excel files. One Excel file is in this folder and another Excel file named as this, and which is saved in the project folder. So I'm reading these two parameters from this sheet. Sheet is this one, and I am going to read this C from sheet 2. Okay, this time, and I'm going to read it from this Excel file, because as you can see, sheet 2, I'm saying that read this C from this Excel file. Okay, now again, if I right click on this and run this CPLEX now will use two different Excel files to read the data and then solve the model. And as you can see, we obtained the same model. Okay, so this is all about reading the data from an Excel file in CPLEX OPL.